Hi, my name is Gia Morón, President of Women Grow, and I am honored to have this conversation with these two incredible women. And so to my right is Tyneeha Rivers and Khadijah Tribble of Curaleaf. And we're here to talk about the rooted in good and power and influence. And I couldn't think of two better individuals to have this conversation with you today. And so, Tyneeha,
Yes, hi.
you're still fairly new to this industry,
Very new to this industry.
and you have come in as your role as Chief People Officer.
Sounds fancy, but it means HR.
You're peopling
Yes,
people at
yeah.
Curaleaf.
Yes.
But you also have had prior experience to that. But I guess I'd like to start off the conversation with, you know, why is it important to have DEI at companies like Curaleaf?
Yeah, you know what? That's such an important question. Something that is very near and dear to my heart. I want to tell you a short story. So,
Please.
early on in my career, I was working at a big Fortune 500 company, and it was a place where I didn't feel was inclusive. So, I spent a lot of my time crying in the restroom because I felt like I didn't fit in. In fact, I wear my hair braided a lot because it's part of my culture, and also I have natural hair, so
Hello.
the little hint of
Hello.
water or rain or anything makes
Yes.
it shrink up, and I have super tight curls.
Mhm.
So I wear my hair braided often, and I had my hair in braids, and I was tapped on the shoulder and asked to wear my hair straight. So you can imagine how that made me feel.
Oh,
And when that happened, I promised myself that I would always, when I grow up and run HR, that I would commit to having a culture where employees can be their most authentic selves.
that's
Because I
so
would
important.
never want someone to experience what I experience. So that's what we do here at Curaleaf. We have our amazing employee resource groups. In fact, I'm so excited about a new initiative that we're rolling out called Building Bridges Book Club. We're going to share books and stories around this very important topic to make sure that our employees understand the importance of DE&I.
And so I'd like to ask you, Khadijah, because I remember when you started in the industry and you have started this program called Rooted in Good. And the impact that it has had, and I'd also say the power that has been felt in the industry. Can you really talk more about why that's so important, a program like Rooted in Good?
So yeah, when I started at Curaleaf a few years ago, my mandate was to create a corporate social responsibility strategy that spoke to the company's values. So I don't know if you remember, but I was about 2 weeks into that job, and I got a call from somebody at Women Grow, who I won't name, who said, "Sis, we got you. If they act up, let me know." And I'm gonna always be so grateful to that call, Gia, because it said to me that coming inside of corporate cannabis can be a little scary for an activist, a person of color, a queer woman. And to know that I had folks who had my back outside of Curaleaf gave me the power to actually engage in the kind of strategy and planning that led to Rooted in Good. And Rooted in Good is super important because we get to focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yes.
We get to talk about some of our values and the things that we care about in terms of veterans and cannabis education. We get to actually have an impact around health disparities because we address ALS, lupus, breast cancer action month. And one of the things that I really love about Rooted in Good is our strategic social partnerships, because we get to work with organizations like Women Grow to actually elevate the conversation around what's important to advance the initiatives and the things that women in cannabis care about. So that's why it's important, because we get to do some amazing stuff.
And so, just thank you, one, for the work that you've done there. And thank you so much for sharing that story, because I can imagine that there are probably other women who have experienced that same, ordeal, which is unfortunate. We're here to come with our authentic selves, but it's important to have those advocates and influencers in positions like yourselves who are there to advocate for us, to say, you know what, she's coming up. She's coming in, she's showing up, and she's giving us our best work. Let her come as she is. Uh, what I know about the both of you is you're both mothers. And oftentimes, working mothers in this industry are often overlooked. It's not even observed, whether if you're called a canna mom or whatnot, but you're a mom. And, you know, I see that as also an interesting impact for the work that you all are doing. Can you talk a little bit more about what it means to be a mother in this industry and how that has impacted your journey and quite honestly could even be like an influence to many?
Oh, yeah. So for me, I'm not just a mother, but was a single mother. My son's grown now. But I understand how important it is for organizations to focus on the whole person. So for me, I was 19 years old when I had my son. And you want to talk about getting a lesson early on about grit, because I had to understand the importance of hard work and determination very quickly in order to be the person that I am today. But when my son was younger, I remember some things that are just so important. One was I was trying to balance trying to work, go to his games, if I needed to leave early. And there was no one at my company at the time that focused on that. They just cared about who I was when I showed up, was on the clock from 8 to 6 or whatever those hours were. They didn't care about who I was outside of work. And that is so wrong for organizations to do that. So at Curaleaf, we teach our leaders how to focus on the whole person. And what that means is really getting to know your team members for who they are, getting to know who their families are, asking about things that are going on in their life that impact work, because when you focus on them holistically, you'll get the best work product. So those are the things that are important. Like, we have to be supportive of one another, especially as parents.
That's a really interesting point. So how do you help the managers to better understand that?
Yeah, a lot of it is learning and development. In fact, I'm so excited. I have to give a shout out to our new VP of Learning and Development. Her name is Sheena. And also I have to give a shout out to Lynette Austin, who has been fantastic. You know, one of the things that she just did at our company is she rolled out our management boot camp, where we teach leaders how to be leaders. We teach leaders how to inspire, motivate their teams so that they can create a culture of engagement so our employees love where they work. So again, it's creating a culture of learning and development with a focus on people leadership.
That is so important for the industry.
Agreed.
And I'll tell you why. Because oftentimes you come in as an entrepreneur, there is no training on how to become a leader.
Absolutely.
And as you begin to develop and evolve your business, there are other roles that you have to take on and even tools that you have to acquire. So being able to train your managers and your senior leadership, it's so important. I think we all come from the corporate space. I'm a single mom too, so I get it.
Yes.
It's tough.
Not easy.
No, not easy. Khadijah, the fact that Curaleaf is rolling out a program like that, and when I think about the companies who are part of Rooted in Good, I would imagine that a lot of the influence that's happening internally falls over or spills over into some of those companies that you all are mentoring and sort of supporting as they're growing as businesses.
So, Gia, what you're talking about is the executive roundtable, where
Yes.
Curaleaf invests in entrepreneurs who are in different parts of the cannabis space by mentoring and connecting them to senior leaders inside of Curaleaf and wrapping networks and capacity building external to Curaleaf. One of the things that I know we're talking about power and influence. One of the things that I'm super excited for Tyneeha. I want to have some responsibility in her getting here. I'm going to take it whether they give it to me or not. When I first met Tyneeha and I heard her incredible story around resilience, one of the things that's really clear about what she brings to Curaleaf in the role of Chief People Officer is empowering people. The power inside of empowering is how she moves and operates.
I want you to repeat that one more time.
I don't even know what I just said, other than.
It's no, you know why I asked you to repeat that? Because oftentimes when we talk about empowering, people, look over the M,
Right.
the M part of
Right.
empowering.
Right. I'm going to say this, right? When, remember when we had a conversation a few weeks ago about this event?
Yes.
I said, I'll come, but can I bring someone with me? Right?
Absolutely.
I am modeling and mirroring what I see Tyneeha do day in and day out at Curaleaf. Empowering not only her direct team, but other C-suite folks, empowering them to dig in to being authentic, how they show up, so their team members can show up authentically. And to specifically answer your question about how we engage those other organizations, when we set up our C-suite members as mentors to those organizations, if that C-suite person doesn't get it, they're not going to be able to engage and actually do the work that we need them to do as mentors in that program. So the way that we are doing is from the inside out.
I love it. Tyneeha, how do
Thank you, Khadijah. That was so sweet. I was holding my tears in because I don't want to mess up my face.
No,
But thank you.
I have a follow-up question, but I want to ask you both this because I want to make sure we capture this. What is your definition of influence?
Wow. I would say my definition of influence is being able to make a difference in the work that you do, but yet being caring, having warmth, being able to make real change within an organization. And while that sounds so simplistic in nature, oftentimes it gets forgotten because organizations, of course, are focused on revenue, which we all know is very important. Like we need our organizations to thrive with, so we can be able to pay our employees and bills and things like that. But where we oftentimes forget is that our employees are the heartbeat of our organization. So when I use the analogy of a heart, you know that, okay, you need to exercise, you need to eat healthy, you need to get adequate sleep because those are the things that you need to live a healthy life for your heart.
Yes.
But just like you look at it in that lens, you have to think about your employees as the heart. And when you think about your employees as the heart, what do they need? Well, they need to feel valued, appreciated, and supported. They need to have a platform where they can share their voices and be heard. We need our leaders to engage with them so that they know that this is a place where we care. Our goal at Curaleaf is to create a great place to work. That's one of our initiatives as we look ahead in the upcoming years. And in order to do that, we need to use our influence in the right way. And the right way is to continue to focus on our team members.
That's awesome. How do you identify top talent?
Yeah. So that's a good question because listen, I don't know if you ever heard of this, but when a lot of people show up for interviews, they bring their representatives.
Yes. Oh, I talk about that all the time. And it probably show up for a while.
And it takes about 90 days for their representatives to go away and you get to know who they truly are, right?
Yes.
So it's twofold, right? Because we all know the importance of vetting to make sure that people have the knowledge, skills, and abilities to do the job. That's basic. We want to hire the best growers. We want to hire the best processors. We want to hire the best folks in a shared services role in corporate. However, we need to really do a good job at assessing for culture. We have to ask the right questions to truly understand who those people are that we're bringing to our organization. Because in order to create the culture that we want to see, every single person in that organization is responsible for culture. So I want to, I'm a huge on giving shout outs when because that's important to me.
I love
I have to give a shout out to my VP of Talent Acquisition, Jamie King, because Jamie is creating interviewing skills training where we can really teach our leaders how to vet for talent. And part of that vetting for talent, again, is tied to culture. And that's some of the work that we're going to be rolling out in the first quarter of 2023. In addition addition to that, we're rolling out some assessments for personality assessments. So we can continue to better understand the person that we're bringing onto our organization, which is of the utmost importance.
So I appreciate that answer because oftentimes we are meeting a lot of women in the industry that are trying to get into some of these bigger companies, and they're wanting to understand, what does that mean? Will they accept me as I am? And so I thank you for sharing that, because I'm sure someone that's tuning in will take away from that.